Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Something that has always been a big burden to me was economics. I didn't grow up with economics, and it's something I have to study to do what I want to do in life. But there is a book that helped me a lot with it. It's called, it's this book here. In Portuguese, it's called Introdução à Economia, but in English, I believe it's called Principles of Economics by Gregory Mankiw, professor of economics at Harvard University. So I believe I'm not the only one that is facing issues with economics. And with this changing landscape of the world we live in, I think it's important that we get a basic idea of how economics works. Gregory Mankiw, in his book, he writes the 10 basic principles of economics in the first chapter, which is why in the upcoming weeks, starting from this video, I'm gonna do a series talking about the 10 basic principles of economics, starting from the first one, which is people face trade-offs. But what is a trade-off? Have you ever heard of the popular saying, there is no free lunch? When you want something, you have to sacrifice another thing in order to get it. That's the biggest problem in the economics universe. People's wants are unlimited, but what people have, what we have in the world, our resources, are limited. This is called scarcity, which I have some annotations of the definitions I'm gonna use, which are word for word what is in the book, so I don't get it wrong and I don't spread fake news. Scarcity, according to the book, is the limited nature of society's resources. So when you have limited resources, you have to give up something in order to get another thing. That's what trade-offs are. Some examples of trade-offs are when you're studying for a specific subject in, let's say a university. When you're giving up the time to study economics, so you can study psychology. That means that you value, at least at the moment, you value psychology more than economics. When you're studying psychology, it means that at that precise moment, you're giving up the time you could use studying for economics and vice versa. Now, a famous trade-off that Gregory Mankiw uses is the trade-off between efficiency and equality. According to the book, efficiency is the property of society getting the most it can from its scarce resources. And equality, according to the book, economic equality is the property of distributing economic prosperity uniformly among the members of society. Now, you might be thinking, but Orlando, why does efficiency and economic equality have to be a trade-off? Can't they just coexist? They can, but when you use more of one, you're using less of the other. Let me give you an example. Government policies, for example, a welfare state. When there's a welfare state, there's more equality, but the government is paying welfare, which means it can't pay for development in other areas, which is not necessarily bad because equality is obviously an important thing. But when you're thinking about a choice, it's important to think about what you're sacrificing in order to get that choice. When there's a policy that makes the pie more equal, the pie has to get smaller, because for the pie to get more equal, there's a cost in that. There's a debate in my country of Brazil about the trade-off between environment and development. These can coexist, but when you're investing in development, the protection of the environment is gonna be lower, because for a society to develop, unfortunately the environment, they have to cut down trees to make wood, for example. But when you invest too much in the environment and maintaining the environment safe, you cannot use the resources from the environment to develop the nation. There's this debate going on about this trade-off. Another trade-off that is talked about in the book is the trade-off of guns and butter. When you invest more in the defense of the army, you can't invest in feeding the people, which both is important. Hunger is obviously a big issue, and defending the country is also something that is extremely necessary. But you have to find a balance between the two. Which brings me to my last point of the video, which is in the last paragraph of where the book talks about this first principle of economics, which says that when people encounter a trade-off, it doesn't necessarily mean that people have to choose one of them. The trade-off doesn't give a choice, but it's, like I said before, it's really important for people to, before they make choices, they get the idea of what they're giving up, so they know if it's worth it or not. Anyway guys, that's all for today. Thank you a lot for watching. If you like my content, why not subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell so you'll never miss a video from me. But if you decide to do it or not, either way, have a blessed day and stay safe.